game. So the last time we saw each other, I'm going to show you two modes. So this is like the easy game where I have one character that moves with the arrow keys and another character that falls from the sky. So I have two characters. My hippo is the one that moves with the arrow keys. I have it starting at 0, 0 when I press the green flag. And then hopefully I'm able to move. I also have it trailing. I think that's just a cool feature. So the way that I did that is I used a stamping tool. You're more than welcome to do an if-else statement. So if it's touching another sprite, something happens, otherwise it's erased. So I did that by adding the pen feature. On Tuesday, we did the if they're touching, they could change color. And hopefully it's moving with the correct arrow keys. The other sprite is simply, this one's detached, so it's not working. But this one is just moving from a very high Y to a very low Y. So it's going from one and gliding to another, and it's picking a random position horizontally to do that. So this is really the only set of code that matters here. What I would suggest you do today before we do anything else is that you right-click in a blank space and you say clean up blocks. And what that does is it stacks things really nicely. So hopefully if you have extra stuff, you can like get rid of it. And you don't want to just like have extra stuff just like floating around. So eventually when you just keep saying clean up blocks, hopefully we can add some comments. So by adding a comment, you might say what this does, like this will have the character move up. So if you ever have to go back, this could be very helpful. Or if you're wanting to explain something to someone else, so them executing your code, or if they wanted to edit your code, it would be easier. That's a great idea. So again, to add comments, if you just right click, say add comment. So I also have 61 blocks. So I want to make sure that I'm saving all the time. That's super critical. All right, guys, so let's take a look at our interactive cheat sheet. So hopefully on Tuesday, we were able to have the two sprites interact with each other. And then today we're going to continue on. You're not only going to do slide 7, but you're just going to keep going with it. Okay, we want to keep adding to this game each time. So we're going to be adding variables. Some people did do this on Tuesday, on Tuesday. So I just want to make sure that we do this again. Or if you have not done so, you want to have a variable for score and for time. Because if you think about it, for it to truly be a game, hopefully there's a goal and you get some type of points. So a variable is simply a number that changes during the course of your code, right? So when you first start a game, you can decide what your time is set to. And then if a character is touching another character, perhaps, you get a point. So when you first start off, you have to set your score. We're going to set it to 0. And then if they're touching another character, we're going to increase it by 1. The reason we have this wait 1 second is because otherwise the characters would actually add a point for like every single time that they like touched, and your number would go up a lot. So just make sure that you have that wait 1 second there. The other thing we're going to do today is we're also going to display the score at the end. So this is a really good use of the operators. You see how this green variable here? So we're going to say if the time is less than 0, meaning that if we're counting down, like say we start at 10 seconds and we count down, if it gets to 0, I want it to say my score, and then I want it to stop for today. We're going to be adding more levels tomorrow, but this will help us like test our score and make sure that everything works. There's 2 ways that you can do the same thing. You don't have to do both of these. If you want to say something a little bit more and have it flow better, you can use a join. So again, figure out what other blocks you can use under the operators to, enhance your score, or enhance your code. So if you want to try this, that would also work. Okay, so hopefully we're going to add an end game feature. Okay, so I'll show you how to do that as well. All right, let's get into it. So I cleaned up my blocks and it's working. And by that I mean my character moves and they interact. So I'm going to go over to variables and I'm going to make a variable. And I want it for all the sprites. I'm going to call it timer. And I'm going to call one for score. I already did these, so I'm just going to close out of this. You can have them visible. So over here on the left-hand side, if you click, it might say the score the whole time. It also has the time up there as well. So I'm going to, on my hippopotamus, I'm going to drag out another green flag. So under events, I drag out a green flag. And now under variables, I'm going to set up this block of code. Okay, I'm going to initially set my score to 0. And then I'm going to go under control. I'm going to grab out a forever loop, and I'm going to grab out an if. So that looks like this. Okay, and then I'm going to say if this hippo is touching the hedgehog, that's when I get a point. So under sensing, it says touching mouse pointer, but you can have this, it'll be the name of whatever sprite. So we're going to just drag that inside there. And then we're going to go back to variables. I'm going to use this changing my score, right? I'm going to increase it by 1. And then I'm going to wait 1 second. That wait 1 second is under control. So now I'm just going to start it. My score is 0. You can see I already got like a few more points. So I may want to just mess around with the how many seconds I take, just so I'm not like getting too much on that. All right, so let's do this. The other thing we're going to be adding is a timer. So I already had a scoring system, so that's why it's good. Just have some extra weird stuff going on here. No. Doop. All right, clean up blocks. You'll be doing that all the time. I like what it is, so I'm going to save it. All right, the next thing I'm going to show you is the timer. So when the green flag is clicked, forever, change my score, so change my variable, not score, change my time by -1. I have it count down after every second, right? So it starts counting down. But where I want to start it from. So with your variables, you can change them, but you can also say where they begin. So right when I start the green flag, I want my time, maybe I'll set it to 10 seconds. Okay. Oops. 10. So just to see it, it's 9, 8, 7, 6. All right, so that's basically this slide right here. So now we're going to say when the green flag is clicked, if the time is less than 0, say your score. Okay, and that's basically going to stop your game. So that'll be it for today, and then we'll add more later. So I'm going to clean up my blocks. I'm going to go down here at the very bottom. And I'm going to say, all right, when the green flag is clicked, forever, I always have it checking, if, and how to set things equal, less than, greater to, it's all under operators, okay? So you can drag out either the less than or the greater than. So depending on which way it's facing, it's going to be open towards the bigger number. So if 0 ends up being bigger than the score, and that's what's cool about variables, or no, timer, sorry, whoop, that in there. So if the timer is less than 0, what do we want to have happen? So perhaps, I'll just grab it out while I'm here, I want it to say the score. So under looks, that's how you can get it to say the score. And then we can stop everything. So I think under control, we can go down and say stop all. All right, now let's see if this works. Well, that's why we're setting our time initially to 10. So then hopefully you only have to test for 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1, 0. Yes, 5. Okay, so it only said 5 because that was my score. Now that's where the interactive cheat sheet, this may be better to do, where you actually join multiple things in, because then instead of just saying the score, you could say you scored so many points. So please check out the cheat sheet, and that should help you greatly for today. All right, guys, save often. If you could, when you're in Scratch and you're saving, also right-click and say clean up blocks all the time. And up at the top, if you hit shared, then I'll be able to see what you're up to. So I'm going to save this as our one for today. And we're all set. All right, KMS, thanks so much. Happy coding.